Hey everybody, welcome back to another cooking video. My name is Veronica. Today we are going to make something very easy, delicious, and I've been making this for the last 20 years. Let's get started. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is chop up this romaine lettuce and put it in a bowl of water, let it clean off some of the dirt that is on here. I know they say that they pre-wash them, but if you look you can still see it. Alright, so I've already chopped up this piece, put that off to the side, and like I said, we're just going to chop this up, put it in a bowl, add some water to it, make sure there's no brown bits, and then we'll dry it off after. So the first thing we're going to do is, I've already started preheating the pan for our bacon. And what we're going to do is cut it in half with my meat scissors. And then plop them right into the pan. Alright, so while the bacon is on the stove cooking, as you probably can hear in the background, I am going to chop up these pieces of chicken into smaller bite-sized pieces. And I probably should have put my gloves on. So we're going to chop these just into bite-sized pieces. And the great thing about this recipe is if you can always eat the leftovers as is, like, because the chicken will be a filling. So you can just eat this after, obviously after it's been cooked. Alright, so chop these into bite-sized pieces for our meal. I'm going to do more than one. And the great thing about this my bacon is done. Ooh. I will get the hang of this over time. So the next thing we are going to do is cook our chicken. We're going to do it right into the bacon fat. Alright, so the next steps into our video and our recipe is we're going to chop up some green onion. You can also use, like, you can add a yellow onion or what you feel like you want to add. You can even add corn. I have had that and that's very delicious. So I typically like to use the whole green onion. I have already washed this and it's quite large. I got it from our local container market. So we are going to use this, and we're going to use the whole thing instead of just the green or just the white. I am just currently just going to let the chicken cool down just a little bit before I add it in. And if you don't like green onion, don't use green onion. You can add, if you do like onions, like if you prefer a regular onion, you can add that as well. I've added both. And add as much or as little as you want. I had learned how to make this recipe about 20 years ago. I would never have thought of it. At that point I was still just like a young mom, and I had just given birth to my son, and I attended a mom group. It was a prenatal group, like, and you go once a week. You would meet other moms in your area, you would cook a meal together, sit down and eat, and they would send you home with a bag of groceries, like all the staples. And a lot of the women that attended were currently pregnant. I think was the only one who had already had their child, and this was one of the meals that I made, and it was delicious, and it kind of stuck, and it was simple and easy for someone like me who at that point in time really did not like cooking. And I think I had just issues with food in general. So and then as I got older, I was like, I want to start learning how to cook. I don't want to just, I don't want to have just a bunch of takeout or like one style of food. I like to be adventurous, and my other child likes to be adventurous. She likes to try new food, which is fantastic because I now love spending time in the kitchen creating new recipes. Okay, so we have our green onion chopped up. I am going to add some of this bacon. Make sure I save some for our salad. And then I normally shred my own cheese, but today we are just going to use a pre-shredded, which is totally fine. And this is just marble. I actually thought I had gotten like the nacho shredded cheese, which is typically really, really good in this. Okay, so we'll add that for now. I can always, remember, you can always add more after. You can't take away once it's already in there. So I'm also going to be using some Kewpie mayo. This is my household's favorite. Oops. You know what? We're just going to take the lid off because we're going to use a good portion of it. And I hope I have enough. If not, it will still like taste good. It just won't be as creamy. That looks like it's going to be enough, but we will worry about that. We'll check on that after. We're going to add some black pepper. You can also add, like, if you want to make it like a little bit spicier, you can add jalapenos. We're gonna add some salt. This is San Francisco's gray sea salt. I'm a little careful on the salt in this just because of the mayo and the sodium in that, but we'll add that. I am gonna add I am not sure where my paprika is. I forgot that. Pepper, just give me a moment. Oh, found it. Paprika. It was hiding by my stove. We'll add a little bit of that. I am not going to add garlic or onion powder to this. You know what? Maybe I will. Just a little bit. Not too much garlic powder because we are mix in. Okay, so now I'm gonna grab a spoon, my spoon. Just gonna give it a mix, and I can add more mayo if it's needed once it's coated. And I'm gonna add, you're probably wondering, well, what about the chicken? Where does the chicken come into? Don't worry, it's coming. Chicken. We're gonna dump this in. It's still fairly hot. It's really hot. And you can, once this is all mixed together, you can eat it right out of the bowl. I often take a couple bites while mixing. Yeah, this will need a little bit more mayo, and then we'll do a little bit of a test to see on the seasoning. And then we'll move on to our next. Looks like I'm gonna need to get more. So it definitely looks a lot better. Now I'm gonna get a spoon. We're gonna try this, see if the seasonings need to be readjusted. No, that's actually really well seasoned. All right, and there's enough cheese. That is great. Let's put the cheese back in the fridge though. All right, so our next step is gonna be, put that off to the side. And I'm sorry if you get a glare from the window behind me. I have a really small kitchen, so this is the only place. We're gonna use croissants. And yes, I recently used croissants, but I do have kitchen, or the oven, sorry, heated already. I preheated it. These are only 4, so whatever's left can just go into a container and somebody in my house will eat it. All right. All right, so we're gonna put those right there. All right, so I started filling these without hitting record. So what we're gonna do is just take a scoopful of our mixture here. And it's okay, if it comes out the side. And then you're just gonna roll it up. I'm just gonna pinch the sides a little bit. All right, so our next step is to put them on the baking tray. And because the chicken's already cooked, just cook these until they're golden brown, which may be however long to the package. Yeah, just cook them until they're nice and golden brown. All right, so moving on to our salad. I am adding some Renee's Mighty Caesar. This is my family's favorite, or at least mine. I guess I shouldn't speak for my children. We're just gonna put a bunch in, and then we'll adjust it as we go, and just use whatever you have. And I think I might have left a little bit of water. All right, so we're just gonna give it a mix. I know a little bit of water at the bottom, but that's all right. I find Renee's to be really thick, but I really like it. We're gonna add in some shredded Parmesan. This kind I am using. It looks like this. Oops. You can always add more later, or if you need to, it's totally up to you. Add a little bit more. And then we are gonna add the rest of the bacon. And then what we're gonna do is of course, add some croutons. Here it is, our dinner for tonight. Chicken stuffed crescent roll and a Caesar salad. Now let's dig in. looks like on the inside. Looking very good. Alright, so let's give this yummy dish a try. I already know it's delicious. I enjoy it. But so this is, of course, delicious. Everything pairs very well together. From the mayo, the mix of seasonings, the bacon, the chicken, cheese, onions. It's almost like in the creaminess of everything all mixed together. In the buttery crescent roll, it's almost like a pie filling, and just shoved in a crescent roll instead of an actual pie. Caesar salad. And here's what the inside kind of looks like. And I just lost my fork. Get that before my animals get it, because it has onions and garlic and everything. Don't want them to lick it. Have to wipe the floor. Thank you again for stopping by and joining me for another cooking video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I really hope you try this recipe. And again, you can do whatever sides you want. You can have potatoes, corn on the cob. It works well in different ways, or even what you might substitute in your crescent roll. If you would add a different sauce, or what vegetables you would put in, or even if you try it this way. So leave me a comment in the description. Let me know if there's a recipe I should absolutely try. What is your favorite recipe? And maybe I'll give that a try on my channel. But yeah, I hope you have a great day.